Hey everyone, welcome. We can see people joining. Give us just a minute or two, grab your coffee, tea, or water, and get comfortable.
Yes, hello guys. Really glad to see you all here. While we wait, drop in the chat where you're joining from. Last time we had people from different places like Berlin, Toronto, Lagos, and a few other cities we didn't really expect. So it's always fun to see where you're from and the map of our webinar.
Yeah, also tell us in one or two words what's your role? Founder, designer, marketer, product manager, just so we know who's in the room today.
Yes, and I think that we can wait a bit more, like to give people ability to join. And one thing more before we begin. This will be practical. We are here to give you a tool you can use even tomorrow morning. And also, we would like to ask you to be interactive. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to
Yeah,
ask them and share your ideas. And yes, Pablo, I can see that a lot of people are joining. So I think we can start.
great. So let's officially introduce ourselves. My name is Pavlo Savchenko. I am lead product designer at LinkUp ST and an 11-time Red Dot winner, specializing in product design for mobile and web. I have worked across a range of roles and tech products, and I have been in industry for over 8 years, working from real estate, fintech to complex CRM systems. Right now, I'm working on a product with around 80 million monthly users, and there is a daily challenge: how to make it better, faster, and smarter without compromising quality.
Thank you, Pavlo, for presenting yourself. And my name is Daria, and I am a UI/UX designer at LinkUp ST as well as Pavlo. And I have more than 6 years of experience in design. I started as a graphic designer, so I believe I bring a strong visual foundation. And over the years, I have worked across a wide range of products, from simple corporate websites, landing pages, crazy startups, mobile apps, to complex management system. In my work, I try to be really hands-on, so I care a lot about result, about process. I really love work with clients closely because that's usually where the best ideas and solutions happen. And I believe that's why some of my works, the same as for Pavlo, was recognized with awards like Red Dot, A Design Award, Webbies, and so on. So really happy to see you all here.
Great, and here is why we made this webinar. We kept having the same conversation with founders over and over. Someone said we need a full redesign. 3 questions later, it's clear they actually need a small refresh. Or the opposite, they want a small refresh, but they really need a full rebuild.
Yes, Pablo, you're right. And the ironic situation here that the difference between these two options really huge. So it can be 15,000 of dollars versus 200 of dollars or sometimes even more. So today we try to fix it. So in the next 40 minutes, sorry, we will try to explain you the difference between these two paths and also which one you can fit with your business the best.
Great. Also, if at some point during the webinar you realize you would like to talk through your own case, feel free to reach out. You can find CTA form right below. Leave your contact details anytime, and we will reach out after the webinar. We are happy to jump on a call and discuss it together with you.
Yes, and one more thing before we finally start. I have some question for you because we will come back to it later. So if you can drop a number in the chat from 1 to 10, how sure are you right now that you know if your business needs any redesign or rebrand or restyling? So this is just your feelings, no correct or wrong answers, just how you think right now. And it will be interesting for us to compare with the results after in the end of the webinar.
Oh, that's a great question. And here is what we will cover today. We will start with the real examples of popular products that grew after redesign work. After that, what usually makes a product feel outdated, how to separate visual issues from deeper UX problems, and how to decide whether your product needs a refresh or a full redesign. how to use a clear decision framework instead of relying on opinions, what to measure before investing time and budget, and in the end, we'll have like our quick Q&A session. So let's get into it.
Thank you, Pablo, for agenda of our webinars. Yes, guys, so we are starting with the first topic. And before we talk about when to redesign, how to redesign, why it's important, let's look at real cases and what specifically redesign and rebrand work can actually do with real businesses, real companies, and so on. So to be clear, we're not against redesign with Pablo here because we are designers for sure. But you need to understand that when it is the right call, it can change a business and can change the business is the main phrase here, because redesign should not be just for redesigning. Redesign should move the number, reduce friction, clarify your positioning, and many other reasons, but not just make the product look cooler or prettier or newer. So for sure, it also can be one of the reason, but just one of. But we need more deeper objectives to understand that you need to rebuild your product. I will show you 3 quick examples, like 2 of them are wins and 1 a warning use case. So we will review with you Vercel case study, MailReach, and Jaguar. And let's start it with the first one. So as you can see, first example will be Vercel. And I wrote down that from developer tool to front-end platform. So let's review the story behind it a bit. So in 2020, the company changed from site to Vercel, and that was not just new logo. It was a new naming, a clearer category, and a stronger position around new front-end cloud and developer experience. So in 2020, when they started, this company when they're rebranded, this company was small enough, and it had very straightforward and simple goal. So it was just simplify development for solo developers, and it has near 5 million in revenue. And today we can say that the Vercel is much bigger. So by 2026, TechCrunch reported that its annually recurring revenue had grown to a 304 million run rate. And here you can see in the screenshot that I outlined some points that what Zate was built for and why Vercels was needed. And why I did this? Because it is not about that the old branding was bad. It does not work like that. It is they just become larger and they change the purpose and the goal of their business, and that's why they need the changes to visually be able to communicate their internal changes with their target audience. These numbers that I break down for you, the important part, understanding that not just rebrand did all of that. Yeah, so the product, the market, Next.js technology, AI app creation, all of that matters. But my point is that the rebrand helped the company look and sound like the larger platform it was becoming. So in this case, we can see that is one job of a good rebrand. It removes a positioning, sailing, removes the framing. Okay, so let's move on and review the second case. So the second example is MailReach, and this is a great B2B SaaS case because the problem here was not just that the website looked old. MailReach helps companies improve email deliverability, so their emails land exactly in the inbox, not in the instead of a spam box. And in this specific case, we can agree that the product was strong enough. So the product itself was really strong, but the issue was that the website was not communicating that strength that the product have. again, a bit story behind it. So they had two tools, an email warmer and spam checker, but visitors didn't really understand the difference between this, and they didn't really understand how those tools work together, and they don't understand the main stuff, why they need to pay more for mail reach rather than their cheaper all-in-one competitors. So in this specific case, we can see that the real issue was not only the visual, but you can see that the visual was updated a lot, but the main issue was not a visual, it was a clarity. So we can see that it was the clarity redesign. Because internally the team had a clear explanation of why the product is better, but externally the logic was not visible enough for end customers. And moreover, they were outdated and their visual was not good enough. So in this specific case, we can see that the redesign fixed this in a focused way. So they clarified the homepage message, they explained the difference between these two products very clearly, they added a differentiation section, they created competitor comparison content, and furthermore, they also improve, modernize the visual, so it will be more reliable, more maybe a bit premium, more credible, and you can see as a result, according to the published case study, so the result was a 60% increase in conversion rate per session and 82% increase in conversion rate per user. So you can see that the number is really huge. So that is very good example how redesign can boost your business. And the lesson here is that this was not a cosmetic redesign, which we will call refresh, and then Pavlo will explain you the difference. But it was the clarity redesign. So mail reach grew because the new site helped people understand their value, understand their product faster, trust it faster, and choose it with less friction. Okay, guys, so let's move on. And the next case also is very interesting, and maybe some of you are already known with this use case because it was in 2024. So this case I can name as warning case because in late 2024 Jaguar launched a bold rebrand. So new wordmark, new visual language, bright fashion style campaign, and the tricky and the most famous and tricky moment, no cars in their launch video. So as you understand, the reaction was huge, but huge does not mean positive. So it was huge but mixed. Some people saw it as a brave and really like it, but majority of people were very confused. So CNBC even reported widespread online criticism and very cool and ironic Elon Musk's quote, "Do you sell cars?" So this quote very good, it was very perfect summary of the issue of this rebranding campaign. And moreover, then after some time, the numbers made the story looks even worse. So in April 2025, only 49 new Jaguars were registered in Europe and US. You can understand how UK, and you can understand how small this number is because compared with April 2024, it was 2,000 items. And that is more than 90% of drop off. And from January to April 2025, registration were down 75% year over year. And again, one more stuff I would like to mention, that not only redesign was the main issue. So it was not, these all problems was not only because of rebrand. Yeah, so we cannot isolate rebranding, redesigning from the business issues. That in that year, Jaguar had also reduced its existing lineup while preparing for an electric relaunch, and that's why dealers had very little product to sell. So we need to mention this as well. But here is the good lesson that a rebrand cannot work alone. if the product strategy, customer expectation, and commercial timing are not aligned, so attention can turn into confusion. And as I noticed before, Jagger got people thinking, yes, sure, but it also showed the risk of redesigning faster than customer can understand what the brand is becoming. So you cannot just redesign just because you have opinion to do this. You need deeper reason, some issue to solve, or some new stuff to communicate with your customers. Okay, and here at this point, you can ask me, so what is the pattern? And the true answer, there is no pattern, because you can, as you can show with my examples, same word, redesign, but totally different outcomes. So we saw how Vercel outgrown its old positioning. We saw how MailReach had clarity and conversion problem and tried to fix it with redesigning. And we saw how Jaguar made a bold identity move during a fragile product transition. So these first two were connected to real business problem they tried to communicate to solve. And the last case shows what happens when the brand move gets ahead of customer understanding and customer expectations.
Larry, you know what? Quick one question. Out of these four examples, which one is closest to what most people in the room are facing today?
Yeah, so honestly, I a little bit mentioned it before, because I believe that mail reach is the best case for the most clients. Because Vercel is really inspiring, but the numbers are really huge. So it's like you're sitting on a unicorn. Jagger is great warning case for everyone who would like to redesign. But not everyone running a luxury car company. So MailReach is that one that fits most rooms. Because they were a small team, they had website, their team was not proud of, and they had real budget questions, and they get their real results. So I think that MailReach is the best choice here.
Great pick. Okay, and it's a top what I want to talk about next. Because the team at MailReach didn't wake up one morning and say, let's redesign. Something pushed them there. Something made the site feel old. And that's what I want to unpack now. Okay, Daria just show you what happens when a redesign is based on data and what happens when it's not. Now let's talk about different questions. Why do products start to feel outdated in the first place? And when companies tell us our product looks old, we need a redesign, what actually behind that feeling? I will give you 5 reasons we hear most often. Be honest with yourselves in the chat. How many of these have you said out loud? Or maybe thought quietly? Reason one, the founder is tired of looking at the old design. This is the most common one by far. The site is 2 years old. The founder has looked at it 10,000 times. They're sick of it. But here is the thing. Your customers haven't looked at your site 10,000 times. Most of them maybe saw it once, maybe twice. What feels old to you feel new to them. The reason two, a competitor just redesigned. This one is tricky because it feels like strategy. They moved, so we have to move too. But think about it. You don't know if their redesign worked. You only see the launch. You don't see their numbers. They could be 6 months away from Jaguar moment. Copying their redesign is like copying, their homework, and neither of you has seen the answers. The reason three, a new hire said it looks outdated. I love this one because it's so human. New person joins, wants to make their mark, has the strong opinions. Your website looks like 1019 or like 2019. Hits hard with leadership. And here is the test. That new person's opinion is worth as much as the data behind it. If they say it looks outdated and here is the bounce rate next to the industry benchmark, listen. If they only say it looks outdated, that's maybe like a taste preference, but not a strategy. The reason for says clients are complaining. This sounds like a real signal from the market. But ask one question: how many clients? When? In what context? Usually it's two or three comments from prospects who didn't buy anyway. And sales is looking for something to blame. If sales can't show you a pattern across at least maybe like 20 conversations, it's not a market signal. It's just maybe like a few stories. And the reason five, an agency told you need redesign. Look, agencies sell redesigns, so when they say you need one, you should ask the same question you would ask a doctor who recommends surgery. What happens if we don't do it? What's the alternative? And if the agency can't answer that clearly, get a second opinion. A good partner will sometimes tell you not to redesign because they think long term. Here is the most important sentence in this topic. None of these five reasons alone is a real business case for a redesign, not one. They become real only when you add data, a measurable problem, hypothesis, and I guess like baseline.
Pablo, sorry,
Yep.
I will interrupt you. I see some question from the chat. So they ask some simple question. So out of these five reasons, which one have you personally fallen for? Maybe based on your own work.
Let me think quickly. I guess maybe like all of them at some point. But the worst one for me, like what reason two? A competitor moved, so we have to move too. We had this internal project maybe like years ago. A direct competitor launched a really beautiful new website. I pushed hard to redesign ours, spent maybe like around 3 months on it, launched it. But numbers didn't move. And 6 months later, we learned the competitor's redesign hadn't moved the numbers either. We were both running on the same vibe. And that was an expensive lesson, honestly.
Okay, thank you, Pavel, for this sincere answer because it's very rare that someone can share their not successful case as well. So
Mhm.
it's always very great to hear these stories. Okay, so and we can move on, guys. And the next topic is very interesting and one of the most important for you. It is so. Let's tie everything together now because as Pavlos said, that we need to understand not only why the product, we don't need to understand just that the product is outdated, yeah, but at the moment that the founder feels the product is outdated, the next, natural question from him is almost always, is this a small problem or a big one? And that's where things get confusing because that's look like sometimes it can look like visual problem, but really be more deeper UX issue and like vice versa. So let me show you how you can separate them and understand where it's just visual issue and where you have deeper problems. So in short, a visual problem, and like in short and very straightforward and clear language, visual problem is when your product looks bad. UX problem is when your product works bad. So it is hard to use. And they are not the same thing, honestly, and mixing them up can really cause your budget. So let me explain this in the most simplest way I know. So I created some allegory for you. It will be more easier to understand. Imagine your business is a house. Now imagine four different things you could do with this house. So when we're talking about house, it's very easy for you to understand that each one costs different money, that each one takes different time, that each one of these fixes a different problem, and the reason that cause this type of renovation or repair is also different. So you can say that the first two can mostly be about some visual stuff, so how your house looks like. And the last two is more about how your house work. Okay, and let's split and break down it for you and have allegory between product, design interface, and this house. So we are on the level 1, which is just refresh. And in the house language, it will be you paint the walls. So in this case, you don't really change the layout. You don't move walls. You don't touch the pipes. You just make it look fresher, newer. So new paint, new curtains, maybe new lights, you know. So for the website, this means new color, updated fonts, new images, you know, maybe new spacing. So everything stays where it was. Same pages, same flow, same navigation. You don't move buttons. So the site just looks fresher and more modern to be like relevant in 2026. And in the slide that Pavlo shared with you, you can see that like the cost, approximate cost, approximate timing, and what issues it covers and what does not. Okay, let's move on to the level 2. So the level 2 in designing terminology, we can say a UI upgrade, but in house language, it is in repairing language, it is you replace the furniture. So what does it mean? Again, you don't break walls, you don't move rooms, you just buy new furniture and move them in the way you like. So a better sofa, a smarter coffee table, the house still works the same way, but individual stuff in the rooms or individual rooms can work better. And for a website, this means the structure of the site stays the same, but you rebuild individual parts. For example, smarter buttons, smarter suggestions, better forms, cleaner pricing table, simpler sign-up flow. So the site flows the same way, but each piece is more user-friendly. And one note I would like to notice here, so as you can see, I mentioned UI UX upgrade but in previous one we had only like UI polishing. So I would like to explain here a bit more. So because we all can differentiate UI and UX, yeah, so UI is user interface and UX is user experience. But sometimes you cannot split this like directly into two, because sometimes UI can improve UX a lot. Or for example, you can have great UX, but because of UI, it will not work. Just a simple example, for example, like button or link, yeah? So color of the button or link, it is per UI. But if the contrast of this color will not be enough, so user just miss this link, miss the color, so it will decrease the UX enormously. Because this is not the problem where this bottom is, yes, the placement, it is just UI stuff, because it is just color, yeah, so color, we all think that this is UI, but because of the contrast and readability of this bottom, you cannot click on it and it will force like more UX issues. So I just would like to understand, to explain you that in this level, yes, we're fixing UI, but sometimes and in many cases, even fixing UI means in ability to increase UX a lot. Okay, so we can move on. And here we are on the level 3. So in the level 3, we can do some deeper redesigning stuff, which is really, really huge. Like, for example, a flow upgrade, or we can see in the repairing language, you renovate the kitchen. So again, we don't rebuild the whole house here, but here we can take one important room, so for example, kitchen, and redo it completely. So new layout, new flow, new way to move through the spaces. The rest of the house can stay the same, but the most important part of it works much better. So for the website, this means most of the site, you can even don't touch it. but you completely rebuild some specific journey, usually that one where the money is. So for example, checkout, onboarding, demo sign up, pricing to purchase flow. So you don't redesign the whole product, but you rebuild that specific part where you can lose your money, where the conversion is poor, when you have a high drop-off rate. And one more thing, for example, you can do this great redesign, rebuild for some specific flows, but also do some just refresh for the whole website. And it will looks like that you do a great redesign, but actually you just changed, deeply changed the some flows, which is really important for your conversion, and update the feel and look of the website so it will align with each other and with your target audience. Okay, and we can move on. The last one, level 4. So here, like a full rebuild, and in the repairing language, it will be you tear down the house and build a new one. So in this stage, you're not painting, you're not buying furniture and placing them, you're not renovating the kitchen, you just start from zero, from scratch, from foundation. So new walls, new layout, new everything. And for the website, this means the new site structure, maybe new design system. It is not this is not mandatory, but maybe new design system, new flows, and even maybe new technology, like from the developer side. And sometimes even new branding on top of all of this. This is a huge rebuilding of the core of the product, where you need to make audit and to understand if you have some frustration in your navigation, so the core product, if it works okay or not, and only in that specific case you need this full rebuild for your product. Okay, and let's see one common mistake that I see every single time that we have request for redesigning something. So most small businesses ask immediately for level 4. So they come in and saying, we need a full redesign everything. And they're ready to commit months to this work. But the reality is maybe a smaller and more focused work on specific flow plus small UI refresh would fit even better for their cases. And also we have opposite situation when someone would just make my site will look cooler, newer, prettier, but they have they totally structure and flows are broken. So in this specific situation, this UI changes and the most coolest website will not give them conversion because it is not their problem, their issue. Okay, so again, the misunderstanding here is using the same word redesign for all these cases. And now we reviewed 4 of them, and they are totally different. And you need to understand that they not only have different outcomes, but also the prices, the reasons, and the goals of this level of redesign is also different. And you need to know which one you're really buying right now.
Daria, can you give us one real example? A client who came is asking for level 4, and you helped them see they really needed a level 2, for example.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Pablo, for this question. So, the last year, we had some fintech founder with small team, and he came to us with confidence that he needed a full rebrand, rebuild everything. Then we did a 1-week audit first, and we understand that actually the structure of his product is pretty good, so it's fine. The problem was some specific flows, like the pricing page had confusing table for customers. The sign up flow was a bit frustrating and also had too many fields, and the homepage hero section was not communicate the value of the product. So just quick fixes, 6-8 weeks of work, and his conversion was like doubled. But in vice versa, if we did like this, if we do really this rebuild of everything, so the result could be tricky. So nobody knows what the result will be in this situation.
Okay, like great point. So, now we have a way to see the problem. And the next question is, how do you actually decide? You are watching the webinar and you have a feeling about which level you need. But a feeling is not like a decision. And let me show you how to turn that feeling into the real choice. So now we have the language. Refresh, UI, upgrade, flow fix, or full rebuild. But naming is not like the same as deciding. And honestly, deciding is the hard part. This is where most teams freeze, or worse, they guess. And the guess at this stage is what makes a redesign go wrong. So let me give you something practical. Two parts, like a quick check first, 3 questions, 5 minutes. Then a deeper framework for the messier cases. So let's start with part A, a refresh or a full redesign. We will have like a quick check. 3 questions, like that's it. And question one, has your business really changed since the last time you touched the site? Hmm? New audience, new product, new pricing, maybe pivot. If something fundamental shifted, you are heading toward the full redesign. But if you're selling the same thing to the same people, you are probably looking at refresh. Let's go to the question two. Do you have a real data showing your funnel is broken? Real data, not a feeling. Maybe bounce rate twice the average, conversion at half, a specific step where everyone drops off. If you have that, full redesign is on the table. If your numbers are roughly okay, you need a focused more on refresh, not like a rebuild. Let's go to the question three, and this one's painful, really painful. Is your budget honest? Real full redesign takes months and serious money. I have seen teams stretch into level 4, you remember, like projects, on a level 2 budget. It ends badly every time. Do the refresh now, prove it works, and build the budget later. So let's summarize. If business changed, like bad data and the real budget, you need a full redesign. If your business is stable, data is okay, and you have a small budget, maybe like choose a refresh. And anything in between, I suggest keeping reading. The frameworks helps. Let's go to the part B, like directly to the framework when maybe like the quick check is not enough. Most teams have mixed signals. So here is a deeper version, like 2 columns. Notice which one you are nodding to more. That's your answer. You need a redesign when, for example, your business has really changed. New audience, new product, pricings, and for example, like Versal rebuild because they outgrew their old name. If that's you, no refresh will save you. Two, you have a real data showing problems in the funnel. Bounce rate twice the average, conversion at half, support fielding the same 5 questions every week. When you have that level of proof, you have a case. Number three, users can't find what they need. They can't find pricing. New visitors can't tell what you do in 5 seconds. If the map is wrong, fresh paint won't fix it. Number four, your tech can't keep up. Your CMS can handle what you need to ship. The code fights you every time. When the platforms can't grow with the business, redesign and rebuild become the same conversation. The number five, a real competitor is winning deals you used to win. Not like their site is prettier, but their story is clearer, their onboarding is faster, and we have a proof. Let's check, like 3 or more checked, you're looking at rebuild. And let's check when you need a refresh. Number 1, your business is stable. The look is just old, conversions fine, bounce fine, and funnels works. The brand just looks like nobody touched it since 2020. Number 2, your conversion data is actually decent. If you are in a healthy range for your industry, you don't have a big problem. You have small things to polish. Number 3, your budget is small and your runway is short. If you don't have enough money for real big rebuild, don't pretend you do. The refresh road exists for a reason, honestly. Number 4, your brand is right, but execution is messy. Different colors on different pages, different button styles. This is not a rebuild. This is cleanup. And cleanups are some of the highest ROI work you can do. And number 5, you are in the middle of a big strategy change. Please don't redesign during a pivot. Refresh now and redesign after. Because the worst thing you can do is launch a beautiful site that's already outdated on day one. So let's summarize. If your data, budget, and you have a real strategy shift, please rebuild. If you have only a feeling that things look old, refresh. No data or not enough budget for now, don't do either yet. I suggest getting a baseline first.
Thank you, Pablo. And I have one quick question about this framework. So, for example, people have this exact framework in front of them, as you shared them, and they use it and they still get it wrong. So they still face the problem. What goes wrong, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah, it's a nice point. I guess maybe like they lie to themselves on question 2 every single time. That do you have real data one? They check the box because they think they have data. But when I ask, what is your conversion rate today and what was it 6 months ago? And they don't actually know. They have a number from a dashboard. They look at once a quarter. It's not data, that's a glance. And the framework only works if you're honest about what you really know versus what you assume.
Yes, perfect speech. Thank you a lot because it resonates with my next topic. Because exactly as Pavlo just said, most teams think they have some data, but what they actually have is just feelings, assumptions, and maybe few numbers, few metrics. So before to implement any framework, you need to know what to measure, where is problem, and what you would like to improve. Okay, and so here is naturally we are here on our last topic: what to measure before investing time and budget. And there is a phrase I really love: a redesign without a baseline is like taking medicine without understanding the disease you would like to heal. So I will tell you some industry standards. So the industry standard is 30 to 90 days of clean baseline data before you make any redesign decision, before you make any redesign work. And this is not just because I come up with this idea. This is how people who works as analytics and who measure day by day, they all agree on this stuff. And if you don't have it, you're not really ready to spend budget and time for redesigning years. Yeah. So yes. This is just for you to understanding how measurement and data really important for having this baseline and to be able to move on. And now in the slide you can see that I break down some something that you can ask me like, so okay, what to measure, yeah? So I break down some metrics that you can actually measure, but I would like to let you know that this is just the example. So there are a lot of different framework you can use for this topic. So this is another independent topic, metrics, analytics, measurements. Yeah. So this is completely another topic that we are not discussing here. Yes. And you have there are a bunch of frameworks how to understand what to measure for your specific business. So you can build KPI tree. You can do a lot of other steps to understand. So here we are not for this topic. Here I just would like to let you understanding in the very high level, so what you can measure to understand that you have some problem and that you actually need this redesign. So for example, the highest, the most popular, and everyone knows, conversion rate. So what percentage of visitors do your main city in, your main actions? So sign up, book a demo, buy something, and very important to understand that percentage of success in each field of business is different. So you can see like 2% and say, oh my gosh, I'm so bad. But maybe for your specific like platform and your specific niche, it is even good numbers, you know. The next one is conversion rate by traffic source. So paid ads, organic search, referrals. So they often behave differently, and you can also measure this one to understand to understand where you miss the audience and from which source you have it more. And the same conversation per page, but just specifically for some page, not the flow, to understand like which page brings you the most value. Okay, so we can move on. And again, this is just example of metrics. There are a bunch of metrics that you can select for your specific cases, for your specific product. So again, drop-off rate, bounce rate, scroll depth. So each of them have different reasoning why we need to measure it, and they they display different problem of your product. So for example, drop-off rate, you can use it when you have some multi-stepper, like in booking, in sign up, checkout, to understand where actually user drop off. So like time on page or scroll depth, for example, you can understand, do users really read the information in your website or just skip it, you know, not understanding the whole value. So based on this information, you can understand, maybe reorder some sections or something like this. So again, this is just idea I give you. And we have a bunch of others. So here you can also measure heat maps and session recordings. And honestly, session recordings is very important, because quantitative number can give you the understanding where the problem is and the understanding that there is the problem. But session recordings can give you deeply understand why users act like that. Yeah, so you can understand even the reason of the problem, and also you can see how users actually behave with your product in your website or like platform, whatever. So for sure, you can also track page speed and other optimization stuff. You can track mobile with a desktop conversion, so to understand you need to be mobile friendly or not. You can, and one of the most important as well, so you can see what real people say. It can be even survey. So the best is to have some one-to-one conversation, some kind of interview, or you can go to support team and ask them for the most recent and most valuable complaint of the customers, or you can get surveys, or you can just run feedback form and understand the feedback of the real users that your product have. So yes, again, this is just example, and here you can see I placed the the example of KPI tree I did for one of one of the product, and this is just for you to understanding that to realize what metrics you need to measure. Yeah, you need also do some work before. So this is just examples that you can do it with the KPI tree. So to understand. So in the top we have like the business goal, yeah, business objective, and then you branch down to understanding what you need to improve to influence in this specific business objective, and what you need to measure to understand that you improve this specific thing that can influence on business objective. And this is like can be, you know, more and more metrics. This is just example how you can understand. So it is not just, okay, I would like to pick this metric. It is a very, should be personalized and customable for your specific case and your specific business. And the last one here that I would like to communicate with you that what tools you can use to actually do metrics, yeah, to measure your design, your product, your website, whatever. So the good news that the most of them are free, totally free, or at least in the first phase of the usage, they are free, and it can cover the most of your requests, you know. So I outline them in 3 groups of tools. So first one is marketing and conversion tools. So you can use Google Analytics, Google Search Console, or exactly your CRM to understand the traffic, the leads, the conversion, who your user are, from where they entrance in your platform. The second one is more interesting for us because it is deeper UX behavior tool. So here you can use Microsoft Clarity, Hotjar, Amplitude, Mixpanel, or others. And here you can understand what actually users do in your product, where they click, where they drop off, and where their experience create frictions. And also most of them have screen recordings as well, so you can just review the screen recordings. And the last one, which is not really you know, my responsibility, but at least I need to mention some technical house tool. So you can use PageSpeed Insights, Lighthouse, and others just to understand and check the speed of your website or platform. Do it have some technical issue? Do it need like optimization on the back end, front end, and so on? And one more thing we need to cover in this topic. So in the most cases, based on our experience, the most issue is not tool, but ownership. So you need someone has to own the baseline and this all like metric stuff. So in your business, pick one person, give him 30, 40, like at least 30, but in ideal word, 90 days, and make it their job to collect numbers for you. And then, only then you can understand, do you really need to redesign or just refresh, or the problem is not in design at all?
Great. Was a really nice topic. And Daria, the question most people are suddenly asking themselves right now, I don't have 90 days. I need to make this decision next week. What's the absolute minimum I need?
Okay, yes, I agree, because in today's like 2026, it's very difficult to have 90 days for just measuring something. But let's see, for example, let's take at least 30 days. So it is not so much as you can see, I think, because you did nothing, and now in 1 month, yeah, in 30 days, you will have some results, some baselines. So just start today. And first thing you need to do, like pull the last 30 days analytics from Google Analytics, for example. Even messy data can be data here. So at least something. So we can have at least some baseline. Number 2, like what you can do, install again Microsoft Clarity. I will not recommend Amplitude for start because it's more difficult to understand how it works. But for example, Microsoft Clarity or Hotjar, it is free. You can just link it to your platform, and review screen recordings. So this is very important. Reviewing screen recordings give you so many information, and you will be surprised how users actually use your website. And three, just sit down with one person from sales or support team and write down again the main complaints that users have. And that's only a few days of work, and it is not perfect, but honestly nothing is perfect when you're working in a real project with real products, so you never will have this ideal perfect circumstances. Yeah, so start with this one.
Nice. Great point. Okay, guys. So we have covered everything we planned for this webinar. Huge thanks for being here, and honestly, thank you for the energy and activity in the chat. It's been really amazing.
Yeah, and one more, sorry again for interrupting. So before we move to the QA session, let's quick check. So before we asked you at the start to drop some confidence number from 1 to 10, and whether you knew if you needed a redesign or refresh. So now drop the second number in the chat right now. How do you think? Do you need redesign or refresh now? And we can review, compare these two answers in the beginning of the webinar and in the end of the webinar.
Perfect. Yeah, let's check. Let's check what we have. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lots of sevens and eights now. We had like
Okay.
threes and fours at the start, as I remember. That's the goal. Not perfect, certainly, just more clarity. The whole point of today is this: the words redesign and refresh should never be used loosely. They're business choices with 5 or 6 figure price tags. The difference between getting it right and getting it wrong is not talent or budget. It's whether you got the diagnosis before you bought the medicine.
Yeah, thank you, Pablo. And now we can move to our QA session. So I already see a bunch of questions, and I can grab a few of them and we can answer. But just one thing, we are lack of time because it is already almost 1 hour we're here. So we will grab only like maybe two of them, the most important. So I can see this one. Our whole leadership team agrees the product looks old. Isn't that enough of a signal to act?
Nice question.
Yes, nice question. So honestly, it is a bit tricky. Firstly, it can feel like a strong signal because everyone agrees that the product looks old and you need to redesign it. But everyone agreeing on a feeling is still just a feeling. It is not real data. So leadership says the product every day, as Pablo said before, and the customers don't. So maybe for you it is old, but for them it is okay. And if you can connect that feeling to a real data, so then act. If you cannot, you need, as Pablo explained before, you need just to review if the product like brings you money, if everything works okay, if customers are satisfied. So if the question yes, I would not suggest you to do redesign. But if the question like no, and you really have not only this feeling but real data or some feedback from customers or some feedback from the just third side, or you have some issue in some some flows, some pages, you face some frictions, so for sure you can do like the redesign, just act.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Daria. And I found a really interesting question from a chat. How do I tell if my problem is visual or something deeper if I'm not a designer? Uh, Look, you don't need to be a designer. You need to watch people. Pick 5 users, watch them try to do the main thing your product is for. If they say this looks a bit old, but they get through, it's fine. That's a visual issue, and a refresh handles it. If they get stuck, take a wrong turn, or ask, wait, where do I click? That's a deeper problem, and paint won't fix it. The eyes notice how it looks. The struggle tells you how it works. Watch for this struggle.
Yes, thank you, Pavlo. And I don't know, maybe one more, and that
Yeah,
will yeah, and we
let's
can
check.
finish.
So one more. Yeah.
Super. So one more. I found this one. So we don't track much right now. What's the one thing to start with if we can only do one? Okay, again, I will be repeatable, but if I need to choose only one stuff, I will choose session recordings because, again, numbers can tell you that something is wrong. But what is wrong and why it is wrong, only like quantity, not quantity, qualitative data. So recordings shows you why and where and how real people use your real product, you know. So yes, my advice will be just see recordings, or even better if you can do some maybe few moderative user testing, it will be even better, or just, you know, have some interviews with real users, it will be even more better. Yes.
That's good. Great. Great. Okay, guys, I think we are good for today. Thank you for your questions and for the energy in the chat. It was really great to have you with us. If you think of something later, you're always welcome to drop a request in the form or just keep in touch with us online. You can scan QR code, jump to our LinkedIn, and let's stay connected. And thanks everyone. See you next time and bye bye.
Yes, thank you guys, bye bye.